the host of Extreme Angler TV, Mr. Karl Kalonka. Karl, welcome to the show, buddy. It's great for you to join us tonight.
I appreciate that, James. How are you guys? Doing pretty good down there?
Doing good. We got.
How you doing, Karl?
We got Jim Campbell there from the FLW, and Jim is actually live in Maryville, Tennessee at McKee Outdoors, and they got a whole group of people down there eating cupcakes and cookies and everything else, and then listening to the show and having fun, man.
That's great. Yeah, I just actually came back. I was in 3 states in a day and a half. I just came back late last night with. We got a new rep group taking care of all our sponsorship acquisitions and contracts and stuff, and they're working on a deal that it's kind of confidential, but I mean it's just exciting times. And until all the the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and stuff, I'm not allowed to say too much, but I'm pretty excited. A lot of U.S. support for our show and what I do from down there, and had a chance to eat some good old-fashioned ribs again. Can't find those in Ontario.
You got to enjoy the ribs when you go down south.
Yeah, I think I had more meat there in a day and a half than I ate here in the last month.
And, of course, everything down there is deep fried, too. So
it was good, yeah. I went to the steakhouse. We had the ribs, you name it, hush puppies and all kinds of stuff, get my fill and have a good time, But I'm pretty fortunate. We go down every year, being part of the striking team. This is going on 12 years, and every year we have the writers' conference and stuff where all the press comes, and I get to spend like 5 days with, my striking brotherhood from KVD and Shaw and Mark and you name it. We have good times, but I mean the meals there, I'd probably come home 10, 15 pounds heavier.
Yeah. Well, I know you go down to my hometown state sometimes in North Carolina. I know a few people down that way that you associate with down in North Carolina, so and I talked to a lot of them today, and they said hello. And also, I had a message from Miss Connie Fuller at Snag Proof, wished to tell me to let you know hello and Merry Christmas to you and up north. So
yeah, they did. But again, we've been really fortunate, and I don't know if that's just fate or being blessed. But I mean, Connie's been with us since day one, like striking. Before I even my face ever appeared on the TV screen, those people were supporting us and. Pretty good times, and Connie is definitely one of them, and I always have a good time down there, and I'm hoping to get down to California again. It's been a couple of years since I fished with Bobby Barrick, and you see some of those giants down there, and working on a deal right now, again, with Patrick Crawford to get down to, hopefully, South Carolina again like I did last January and fish those redfish.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Snag Proof supports us here at the show and does a lot of support for us, and also, our buddy Patrick Crawford there down Team Allure Fishing is such a coincidence. Patrick just actually joined my team, him and Clayton, signed on with me in 2012 and has become part of my team and actually is going to start doing a saltwater series with FishBaitRadio.
Oh, that's great. I went down last year, and we just hooked up on Facebook, like most people are these days, and we went off a whim just by talking to him a couple times, and we set it up pretty quick. But, I mean, I was very, very impressed with his professionalism, his attitude. And actually got a pretty good TV persona, too. He wasn't nervous, and he just, unscripted, and we had a blast and caught these redfish. And, I've never seen dolphin gang up and chase redfish and eat them like the whales do in the ocean and stuff, and that was something else to see those things coming out of the water, and having a lot of experiences down there. But just, I think the biggest thing that I enjoy with the show is camaraderie. A day doesn't go by that I don't talk to somebody or somebody sends me a message on Facebook or a text or whatever it is about, we just saw this in this show and we like what you're doing and stuff like that, and and say, well, you're more down to earth and stuff, but I love to think like that because, I came from driving a truck, you know what I mean? Just a guy driving a truck, and I got a lot of lucky breaks and stuff, and there's a lot of hard work, obviously, like anything to do this, especially living in the Great White North, compared to some of my striking brethren living down in Alabama, Tennessee, or Mississippi. But it's all good times, we have a good time doing that, going down there and fishing with those guys, and we've got a real big schedule lined up. I think I've got probably half my series of 26 shows lined up between now and, probably middle of May, all through from Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina, California, you name it. So I'm not going to see much snow this winter.
Well, hey, when you come down the road and pass through Quebec, pick me up, my friend.
Yeah. You know what? Quebec is fantastic fishing, but I tell you, I think that in the last 5 years, people all across the power of the internet have seen that Ontario has some of the greatest smallmouth fishing in the world. You know, St. Clair and Erie have those potential world records and stuff, and we do too. And let's say Lake Simcoe, but I mean, for average size, you know, there's some tournaments that you've got to have 27 to 29 pounds for 5 in the fall to get a check.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's pretty good. You know, again, it's all the forage and things like that. Maybe the water clarity, the fish can see more. There's all kinds of factors involved, but the biggest and the best part of it is that those fish are getting bigger, fatter, and more plentiful.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing, you know. And I said I want to talk to you more about, you know, your tour dates and all that stuff coming up, you know, this year, and find out some of the lakes you might be fishing in the States. If you're able to tell us the lakes, you don't have to tell us the times and
not a problem.
Stuff.
You know what? I'm more open to that. One thing about our show, and I think that's helped our popularity of our brand, is, you know, I'll be real honest with you, James. Unless I'm on a real small cottage lake that obviously couldn't handle a lot of pressure from a lot of people, you know, I'll keep it just discreet and say the district I'm in, because chances are there's probably 20 lakes in that same region that offer the exact same opportunities. So there's not a real reason for people to go to one specific lake. You know, you use the same techniques and the same baits, and chances are it's the same watercolor in the same area. So, but when I go down to the States, it's the same stuff on the elite. You know, I'm going to be on Pickwick again, and, you know, down in Grenada for the big crappie, and fish Wilson, Wheeler, Kentucky Lake, Barkley, you know, all the things that guys see everyone else doing, and I get enjoyment from doing that, you know, to see where maybe Kevin Van Dam was throwing a crankbait or a red-eye shad a week ago, or, you know, Mark Davis was doing something, or Denny Brower was flipping docks on Lake of the Ozarks, and here I am 2 weeks later fishing the same kind of water. You know, we grew up idolizing these guys. No matter how old you get in fishing, the thing is about learning and the experiences. And for me, when I get a chance to do that, you know, being a guy from the great Canadian North, it is something I'll look on, I think, later on in life and really relish.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we've got a phone call for you, Carl, and folks, we're going to let Carl take some phone calls if you want to call in and say hi to Carl, but we want to limit the phone calls down to, you know, maybe a minute and a half, something like that, because we'll get overbooked and all that good stuff. But
yeah, I don't want to get anybody upset.
But we'll get this, and then we'll see who this is. Hello, you're live on Pros Corner, FishBaitRadio.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. All right. Who we got here?
This is Patrick. I was just calling in to say hey, James, and Carl, just calling in to say hey, buddy.
How you doing, Patrick?
Good, man, good.
Oh,
been a while since I heard your voice. Just saw you on the show tonight. Wanted to call in and say hey, and just say we're proud of what you got going on, and thanks for coming on the show and talking with all the guys.
Yeah, things are good. You know what? And James just shared with me you being part of that and stuff, and I see that you're branching out, obviously, with more things to promote yourself and things, and I'll give you power for that, man, because I did that a lot of years ago, and, you know, some days I thought about regret or whatever, or the risk involved and things like that, but you know what? At the end of the day, there is no regrets and stuff. You want something done, you got to do it yourself, my friend. You know, and
that's right.
Are taking that step. You know, you, like I said on the radio, you got that whatever you want to call it, the charisma for on TV and radio and stuff like that. And I trust you when I tell you that's a gift. It's a DNA from your parents, because it's something that you can't learn. Either you got it or you don't. It's not a derogatory sense to people, but it's just the way it is when it comes to, you know, talking on TV or on a stage at a seminar or a club event, whatever it is. You got to have that certain charisma to get across to people and be down to earth. And my friend, you know, obviously we met last year, and I know we're going to be hooking up real soon, hopefully again.
Yep, hopefully we're going to get you on down here. We're going to do it again. We're going to try and do something you ain't never done before. We'll let the fans find out whenever it's all said and done, but hopefully we're going to do something new.
I look forward to it. I'll make sure Robbie comes down and says hi to you as well.
Yeah, we will feed him good this time.
Yes, sir.
All right, Carl. Y'all have a great rest of your show. I just wanted to call in and say hello to you, my friend.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be seeing you here again soon.
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas and a good holiday season, all right?
Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. Tell the wife and kids we said hello.
Hey, buddy.
All right.
Thank you, Pat. Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. We got another call. Patrick from down there in Charleston, South Carolina. Let's grab this one here. Hello, you're live on the Pros Corner, FishBait Radio. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, you're live on air.
Hi, this is Shoe Dog from Ontario. How you doing today?
Good, yourself?
Good, good. Listen, Carl, I know you like fishing up in the Kawarthas a lot, and that's where I live. Just wondering, you had an episode the other day of fishing real close to the bulrushes, like 5 feet away. I was wondering if you're going to do any more episodes like that, because that was pretty exciting. Not that any of the other episodes are exciting, but that one was really exciting.
It debuted Monday night, and what's today? Today's Wednesday. I think I got about 40 to 60 different messages and texts and stuff, and people that love that kind of high-impact stuff. And, I thought maybe these days a lot of guys like to, chase around things like the open water spinnerbait and swim bait, the things that are more, I guess, in today's angler, because the new baits and stuff, they want to get out and do that. But that's the way I grew up fishing largemouth bass. It was the first day I ever got a boat, get into the heavy stuff, watching Bassmasters on TV, etc. And I learned a long time ago that if you want to catch them good and heavy, you got to get into that nasty stuff. And I plan on doing that. I tell you, I picked a little bit later in the year where those fish tend to move a bit more, but I'm going to get in there. Our season in Ontario opened up end of June. That mid-July to late July period can be just phenomenal in those same areas, but instead of catching 2, 2.5, and 3s, you can be getting in those 4 and 5s, and then you find out about your tackle and how strong your rod or braid, or if you made a mistake.
Oh, that's awesome. It's an absolute pleasure watching your show, Carl. We really do appreciate it here, so I just wanted to thank you very much and wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well.
Yourself too, and hopefully all for yourself and your family as well.
Thanks, Carl. Take care now.
Amen.
And I want to, emphasize all our friends listening to the show tonight. Just because Carl's not with us on a regular basis don't mean you can't come back to the show now.
I love to share everything. You know what? And sometimes when my sponsors, when I'm in the booth, whether it be at the trade shows in Ontario or if I'm at ICAST, someone starts to talk about fishing or talk about a show or mention something, I just love to ramble on because, when it comes down to it, that's what I'm all about. It's fishing, and it's
well, Carl, let me ask you a question. I mean, I know you do the TV show and all that. I mean, have you ever done much, tournament angling, or have you just been mostly with the TV show and stuff like that, or did you ever start in tournament angling? And
you know what? I did it quite a bit in the early 90s and stuff. I think my first event I ever fished, and it was intimidated, et cetera, called the GM Pro Bass Tour back in, I think it was 1990 or 89 or something. And you know what? It was all these big-name guys that I've seen all the time. And here I was still driving a truck and stuff, so, I didn't have a lot. I hooked up with a guy with a small 16-foot fiberglass, and he said, what are we going to do in 150 boat field? And I said, well, all I know really how to do is pick up a jig and pig. Let's go do docks and slop, etc. And I think we finished third, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not a rocket scientist, but, it's just me and maybe the guy I fished with or myself against the fish. So saying that, I went over all the years. We've had quite a few wins in the regional stuff, but the biggest thing is, with my show now, I got 26 episodes a year, and the amount of scheduling, travel, etc. It's just, I see the dedication that it takes to really compete. And that's just who I am. I'm a very, very competitive person, so I don't really want to go just for the sake of competing. I fish a lot. I fish 300 days a year sometimes, but the fact is, I know the logistics. If I were to consider going to the States, that it would take a lot of time, money, effort, you name it. And I just got to a point, I guess, in my career that tournaments are fun. I will pick the odd one to still fish, but it's that drive that I need, and I need to see the return on investment. And that's not a knock against the Canadian events, et cetera. They're fantastic. The guys run great events here, but it's just about economics and stuff, and they've only have so much support and so much sponsor support. You know, we're not, our demographics are nowhere near like the United States, and, you know, it's very relative to that. But at the same time, you know, the guys here are fanatically extreme, pardon the pun, where, you know, these guys up here, we you know, they still have $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 bass boats and a truck to pull that with, and we only can fish for bass from in Canadian waters from end of June until mid-October, early November. So it shows our dedication. But at the same time, the tournaments, I love it. It's still in my blood. But if it gets to a point where I decide that maybe I'll tone down some of the amount of episodes I'll do, and just to tone it down a bit, I think what I would do is travel a bit more to the U.S. from what I've seen in the variety that's there, the competition level, you know, and to really see how I could do against some of those guys. And as long as KVD and Hack and those guys are retired by then, I'll probably do okay, I guess.
Well, you know, you could compete with them FLW guys. You know, Jim Campbell and Andrew Luxon here on the show. You know, they them FLW boys. They fish on them southern lakes pretty good. So you go down there and fish with one of them one day. Go down there to Jim Campbell in Tennessee. He'll take you out on them lakes down there.
Yes, you know, I'll tell you one thing. In the last, since I've been going down to the striking jamborees, and they've been with us for 11 years, but I mean, I get a real good handle and hook up even with different guys, regional pros that are with striking, let's say. And, you know, my eyes are open 6 years ago to the level of professionalism. I think that was the biggest thing that impressed me, how professional they were in their camaraderie with other people. But when you talk about technical things, they are totally focused. You know, it is very reminiscent of the race car driver in the southern events, FLW, bass, you name it. You know, there's a reason why certain guys are winning a lot of the money. And you know what? When you see these guys face to face and you look in their eyes, you see that there's no room for error. You know, they make sure that all the intangibles, to an extent, there's nothing left to chance. And to be able to fish with these guys like I did in October as well again this year, and it just sharpens your own skills where maybe you think, well, you know what, I know how to flip a dock and I know how to do this and I know how to do that, but you get to see how these guys, how they roll cast or how they make decisions if the fish aren't where they think they are. It is just amazing to see the professionalism and how good these guys really are.
Yeah. Well, Carl, we got another phone call for you right fast, and then we'll wind the phones up. But there's also a question in the chat room. Scott wanted to know, are you going to be at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show in Toronto in February?
Yeah, I plan on being there, Scott. I'll probably be at the Bassmaster Classic as well, the Classic Show, and the Spring Fishing Show. Looks like it's a week later or before, based on the schedule. And some of my sponsors asked me to make sure that I was at that show as well, so I'll be there. And I think we'll be at the Toronto show as well, spending some time with St. Croix and Arden Booth and see who else is there. But, yeah, I enjoy that. I love the camaraderie again. I said with the people that just come up and talk about the show. And you know what? I'll answer almost any question they want to ask me other than guess or waypoint spots.
All right. Well, let's grab this last phone call here. Hello, you're live on the Pros Corner FishBaitRadio.
Hello, Carl.
Sounds like Bruce.
Yes, that is me. How's it going?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How's the weather up in Ontario?
Rain. You know, it's rained for 2.5 days. Today it rained probably for 6 hours. So I love to see the white snow and stuff. You know, this is the time of year to see that stuff, but it's not. So it's not freezing cold, so it's okay. But I'd rather see that than winter festive season. You know what I mean?
Well, right, it's coming your way because we've had the freezing rain here all day.
Oh, yeah? Wow. Yeah, it was kind of nasty coming through Buffalo late last night and stuff on the highways. They were spreading some stuff around. But, no, I enjoy it. You know, a little bit of downtime at home with the family and stuff and to go to the mall with the wife and girls and things like that, do the things that I normally do. You know what I mean? And when I'm on the water, you know what it's like, Bruce. When I'm up there at your all of the lake, and it starts for me in Ontario sometime in April for crappie and big jumbo perch, and it does not stop until, you know, October, November with everything else in between. And next thing you know, I'm putting the boat away and spend a little time, and then it's back to the same old stuff. But I tell you, buddy, it's a blessing. I've never changed it for the world.
That's good. I just wanted to call in and wish you and your family a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, yourself too, and hopefully that finger gets fixed up that you busted or something.
Yeah, soon. It's healing. It's healing quick.
Well, it's not the trigger finger. Otherwise, you won't be using that spinning wheel anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well,
all right, buddy. Well, you have a good Christmas, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, Bruce. Take it easy, buddy.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you for calling, Bruce. That's Bruce. Well, Carl, I'll tell you, man. Anytime you want to come back on the show, like I said, we're going to have different shows through 2012, and maybe we can hook back up again and do another show. Maybe we can get you back on and do a show with Patrick and them. Since you visit down there in Charleston with those fellas and all that good stuff, and have some more phone calls for you and stuff.
Anytime you want to do that, I'll keep in touch. And you need someone to fill in the spot or to shoot the breeze. And I go on a lot of road trips to different places and stuff, and sometimes I like to share some experiences and stuff that I know people just want to hear about fishing.
Oh yeah, always. Well, I was going to ask Jim Campbell's down there. Like I said, he's down there in Tennessee. At McKee Outdoors. Jim, you got any questions for Karl Kalonka? He fishes.
Absolutely. I saw some good power fishing techniques from this guy. He's phenomenal. What I want to know is when we're going to get him on this Tennessee River and figure out how this guy's catching these 24-pound of smallmouth when a bunch of pros we're going out struggling. I'd love to have him on the Tennessee River and show us how to make these southern smallmouth bite. Boy, he catches them up there.
Jim, one thing I learned years ago that, the old saying when people said that years ago, bass is a bass is a bass. And brown bass is the exact same way. I've got a few things in my arsenal. I call it in the mind vault that it all depends on, where they're located. There's current and watercolor and time of year. And after that, I could use those same applied. I don't care where I fish, from Tennessee to Ottawa to wherever there's brown bass, they will act in a certain way, again, based on seasons and things like that. But, again, I think because I grew up fishing a lot of walleye, and walleye can be the most stubborn fish in the world, and I think I've learned that smallmouth, when they don't want to bite, it doesn't matter what you want to do to make them bite. You got to be more stubborn than them. If that's the only thing I can give to people is if you got to be more stubborn than them and find ways to, if they don't want to bite, to trigger them. And that's the same way with walleyes. Some of the best walleye fishermen I know, they're either deadly slow or they're fast. One or the other. There's no in between. And that's what I found with smallmouth here. And, I'm looking forward to it. I want to get down there. When I was on Kentucky Lake at the last Strike King event, they were on Kentucky Lake, and I saw some beautiful big brown bass. And that was very late October, where I wasn't doing any more topwater here, and we were blasting some real nice ones on the Spitting Kings and stuff. But I love it, and I went down to Pickwick Lake and fished with Jake Tippy as well, and I saw some absolute monsters on that Wilson Lake that he catches with the big Mike Buka swim bait. And I tell you, potentially those areas that have world record fish like that, I'll come down anytime and fish that stuff. I just need an invitation.
You got it.
Okay. Well,
come on down.
You go down there, Big Jim, take you fishing anytime, girl.
Yeah, I'll do that. Whereabouts in Tennessee are you?
Right on Tellico, Fort Loudon, Douglas, Chickamauga, then the Pickwick, and then you go on down to, Gunnersville, all that stretch, and then it goes back up into Tennessee, Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, big stretch of river right there. Got some great fishing, but, I've been up to Champlain, and, man, that's some great smallmouth fishing. You catching 40 and 50 a day. I don't know if them smallmouth act different up there than the ones we got, but, it's tough fishing down here sometimes. And I love going up north catching them northern smallmouth.
In the last few years, I've really, I guess, I'm not going to call it fine-tuned, but I just opened up a few little bags of tricks, finding how on some lakes, if they have a lot of abundance of smallmouth and largemouth, that I found that a lot of the northern smallmouth, in which a lot of river fish act the same way, they are in the exact same positions, I mean exact same as the largemouth, where I'm using those 7-foot heavy action rods, 20-pound fluoro or braid, and big swim jigs or something. And I tell you, I've set into some decent largemouth over the years, but I mean, you set into a brown bass that's 3.5 to 5 pounds with 10 feet of line out, I'm telling you, you do that 2-3 times in a couple hours, and your shoulders are sore.
I love it, man. I love watching your show when you get in there beating the bushes. I mean, that's some high-impact, slobber-knocking, down-to-earth fishing right there.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. I like that. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.
We appreciate you, Carl, for being on the show. God bless you.
Okay, you too.
Yeah, Carl, like I said, I want to appreciate you coming by and joining us on our little special show here, right before Christmas and stuff, and it's been a pleasure, man. There's one thing that we always do here at the show, and it's a tradition with anybody that we have on here on the show. Before we let you go, we always like to give thanks and praise to the people that make things possible that we love to do, and that's fish. And there's always people behind us, and we always like to give our guests the opportunity to give a shout-out to those people that help you do what you love to do, my friend. So if you want to, just give you a roll call there and give your sponsors a shout-out.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm real fortunate, like I said again, and you know what? Everything from Lucky Strike Baitworks in Canada to Snag Proof, obviously, to HE Hooks and X-Point, and we've got some good support, St. Croix rods, obviously, Ardent Reels. They just, I can't say enough of them, especially being made in the USA, how much effort they put in supporting me. And a big thanks, I guess, but I wanted to just say out maybe thoughts and prayers to the Ray Mirsky family. I've been with Striking since day one, 11 years ago, and what happened on Monday night with Ray, and his passing, et cetera, and stuff like that. It's a joyous time to be with family and stuff, but it's at the same time you got to reflect, think about how precious life really is. And someone like that who's an icon in the industry passes before his time. So, I just want to wish everybody again happy holidays and very Merry Christmas. But fish safe, drive safe, and be smart.
Appreciate it, Carl. And I'm gonna tell you, I want to remind everybody. Of course, I don't have to remind nobody. I mean, everybody out there knows it. Catch more of Carl on ExtremeAnglerTV.com. Catch up. Keep your eyes out for new episodes, TV shows, and personal appearances and all that great stuff. But Carl, like I said, Merry Christmas to you, my friend, and Happy Holidays. Stay safe in your travels, and best wishes in 2012. And we're definitely going to have to get you back on the show sometime or another.
Okay, James, thanks very much, and thanks to all the guys who supported this, too, as well.